Merci.
It's the dance of the night chords. As we said when we introduced you, this is your first feature film, and I'm curious to know, your shorts have maybe been, in some cases, kind of high concept and gave you an opportunity to explore an idea over this really concentrated period of time. And was it a process for you to determine that this was the film and the idea you wanted to really dive into with your first feature and commit these 90 minutes to?
Actually, I wrote another screenplay for another feature before, but I wasn't satisfied with it. And it was really painful, all the process, the writing process. It was a drama, it was super heavy. And so I write it and I just put it on the side, and I decided to do this instead and ask one of my good friend who is super funny, and she's a good dialoguist, and I really wanted to go out of my own head. And so yeah, at some point I just dig into this and I was like, okay, this will be my first feature. It's a vampire film and it's gonna be fun. Yeah.
I think more filmmakers should refer to their film as this. This thing that you all just watched. I think one of the things that really strikes me about the film is there's so much empathy to these characters that we often think as these creatures, and these monstrous creatures as well. And in a world that perhaps begs for more empathy sometimes, it's really novel to see it coming from the undead in this case. And was empathy kind of an idea you wanted to play with in the film?
Yeah. It was the main idea actually it was the flash that I had to think about a vampire with too much empathy and what's the solution. It's like there's no solution. Instead, someone wants to give his life for her, but if she kind of wants to cheer him up or to be sure he wants to die, it can bring more problem afterwards. So this was the idea, to play with like sadness, but also empathy, also our need to feel belong and to create bound between human, because both characters are super lonely and feel like they have no connection, they feel not connect with anyone. So yeah.
When we talked about Wild Skin, maybe not in the intro, but outside, you said it kind of has that balance between attraction and repulsion as well, which is maybe kind of central to the vampire myth. There's always like an alluring element to these figures as well. And what is it about that kind of attraction repulsion piece that continues to draw you in as a storyteller?
Yeah, I think every of my film have that aspect, and I don't know, it's just curiosity about what sometimes attract us, but you're not supposed to, or you feel like it's weird to feel those feelings. And I like working with in this gray area where it's not clear what you're feeling and you are looking for answers and there's no answers. And yeah, so my answer is not more clear than that.
Do we have questions out here in the audience? Right against the wall.
Yeah, I just want to state that I absolutely love the film. One of my favorite things about was the relationship between two characters, and this might be just me, but there's a lot of asexual coded with the characters.
Yeah, it's not just you, I think. But I didn't want to do like a rom-com where there's this scene where they sleep together, but I liked to play, like my intention was to play on those first moments. And for Sasha, it's the first time she's about to kill someone, but I wanted to create this scene where it's the same thing like the first time you will have sex with someone. So I thought it was funny to find those parallel between a normal teenager and her her problem as a vampire. So yeah, there's a lot of reference between sex and death also, because you know. But yeah, there's always this kind of relationship between sex and death in the Vampire Tales and in my film, even if it's not Vampire Tales. Yeah. Thank you for your question.
And if there are questions in the balcony, shout them out because we cannot see up there, or at least I can't. Any more? Back where? Oh yeah, there you are, waving your hand. Please go.
Yes, you had a very strong prominence of music throughout the front of the movie, like with Sasha's piano playing, that incredible winter you had in the middle with that, with emotion and all that. So I was wondering what kind of drove the emphasis of music being such a through line throughout the film for what you were trying to do here. What drove that? Because I thought it worked really well.
Thank you. I think I always like to do a playlist when I'm writing, and I always want those big songs in every film that I wrote, and it's usually like impossible for the budget. But yeah, I think lots of my inspiration come from music, and I thought it was funny also to play with eras with the music, and yeah, I'm not sure if I answer your question. Like it was just to talk about the music, my process with music. Is that right, or I'm missing something in your question?
That answer works for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Another satisfied customer.
Thank you.
Right here.
So one maybe allegory that I thought I saw in it, I was wondering if it was intentional, was about eating meat, because Sasha with the baggies, like I do eat meat, but I would never hunt, and that's hypocritical, I think. That I would never want to kill an animal or see it being killed, and I was wondering if that's an intentional allegory that's going on in the film.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was intentional to kids eat meat, but they don't really do the connection between the chicken, the nice chicken, and the chicken in their plate. So yeah, when Sasha had to kill the clown, it's like, but it's impossible. And yeah, it's clever.
Right here.
I've seen hundreds of vampire films, and what makes this film so unique is that on the one hand, you have the dark humor of the fearless vampire killers, Walter Clancy's film. On the other hand, when you show a killing, you you don't go into the territory of the hunger. You keep it at a certain point, and I think that you don't want to turn the audience up. You want to keep them on edge. And so some of the killings are done off screen, audio-wise, etc. And I think that by having the family unit, you have them normalizing this. It's almost like, just a family, like out of the Wonder Years. They all get together and they talk, and this is what our problem is. And they don't think of themselves as being vampires. They just think of this as a normal thing, going about their day-to-day business, and this is how we're going to react. So the whole idea of having the little girl become this young woman, and she's kind of lost. She doesn't know what she wants to do. And she doesn't want to kill. So they're kind of getting into the point of where, well, it's a rite of passage. Once you hit a certain point in your life, you have to do this. And she's thinking, well, there must be another way. And so there's this yin-yang, give and take, as far as what she's going to do in life. And I think that for the audience, we're kind of wondering what is going to end up happening in this film. I mean, is she going to live? Is she going to die? Is she going to turn him? What is the future going to hold? So the idea of the way that you enter the film is interesting.
But what's the question? It's interesting, like, yeah, it's...
Artistically, where you were thinking, I can only go to a certain point in this vampire film, I can't show more.
Yeah, maybe your decisions around the restraint you showed, in terms of how explicit the violence was, things like this.
But
and the right balance.
Yeah, I feel like I can answer for an hour to your question. I didn't want to do something horrific or gore or it wasn't my intention, and maybe some people here wanted to see like a vampire film. I'm sorry, it's not. But I think sometimes to not see something and to use the power of the sound and to not show further, and it's more powerful sometimes than actually seeing it. So it was just my choice to keep a distance with the violence or use it in a playful way, like the scene in the left when the cousin killed the hitchhiker tourist, and I thought with the jazz and the scream of the boy, I find it funny, so I kind of so at the end the more violent scenes are more funny than violent. But for the family, they are normal family. They are normal, yeah? Normal.
In my experience, yes. The family maybe brings us to your casting for the film, because you have Sarah playing Sasha, who's this phenomenal actress that we've seen in Falcon Lake and other films of recent, Real Rising, Quebec Star, and even in the very early scenes of the film when we have the reverse shot of her family, it is populated by really some of Quebec's finest comic actors working right now. And one might say you were spoiled with this cast, but I imagine it must have also been an incredible process for you to assemble them and to create this family that would surround Sasha.
Except for Sasha and Paul, I offered the role for the most part because I wanted to have a cast who are really good with deadpan comedy and who are not playing more than they are supposed to play, because I thought the situation are funny, but I like when actors like stick to their drama. Like it's not funny for them at all, but this is what it's the most funny, I think. And yeah, they all say yes because it's a vampire film, it's a comedy. I think, yeah, it was not that difficult. But for Sacha and Paul, for Sarah Monpetit, I had her in mind for a long time because she kind of is meant to be a vampire, I think. And actually, the director of Falcon Lake.
Well, now we're both embarrassing ourselves.
Charlotte Lebon helped her for the audition, and she tell her if she don't take you, she's a fool. And yeah, I take her. But the only thing I had to be sure of if Sarah is a funny person, and she was so funny but in a clever way, and yeah, it was delicate and really liked it. And Paul, I didn't know him. Félix Antoine, who played Paul, and I discovered him in the audition. And when I mixed those two together, it was so awkward, but in a good way. And so in my head, it was done. Like there's no other actor possible for those roles. And when I told them that, they were like, we were sure it was it because it was so awkward. They were not comfortable because they were, but this was interesting. And afterwards they were super friendly, and yeah, it's a long answer.
It's all about the right awkward sometimes. The right amount of awkward. The look of the film, you know, there's so many nocturnal scenes, so many dark scenes, yet there's like this kind of luminous quality to it at the same time. And Stéphane Lafleur, your cinematographer, had...
Editor, sorry,
apologies, editor. So your cinematographer, whose name now escapes me because I was busy.
Sean Powell.
Thank you very much. Brings this like incredible kind of inner luminosity to all these scenes. What did you discuss around the look you wanted for the film, and were there certain references you pulled, be it from cinema or elsewhere, in terms of like the look you wanted to bring to those scenes?
It's always a long answer, also because I live with him, so I is my boyfriend. My cinematographer is my boyfriend, and I wrote this film for 3 years, so it's a really long talk. But yeah,
give us the 1 year version.
Okay. I don't know. I was inspired by a lot of vampire film as well. We watch like a bunch of vampire film to use some reference, but also we wanted to do our own thing. A Girl Walk Home Alone at Night was a big inspiration of ours. But I really like coming of age as well. So we watched just a lot of film. Diary of a Teenage Girl was a big inspiration as well. And sorry, I don't know why I did that. I feel like it's like Albert Laurie. But okay, what I wanted is to have like I like long shot, and frame, a still frame where the character are more free and it's the dynamism of the mise en scène is more in the character. I feel like it's forever my answer. I'm so sorry. And we wanted to play with the lights, the lights represent the danger in our film. So I will write a book about it, and maybe yeah. Can you ask me another question?
We're going to go to the audience. We have time for maybe one or two questions in the audience. So we have, oh boy, we'll go here first. That was the first hand up, and then here and there.
That package that Sasha gets at the beginning of the movie, what would you say is the main reason she kept it?
The what?
That like packet, that pastry.
Oh, the cookie. It's because for me she was kind of curious what I imagine never eat food and just seeing the world around you are so obsessed by food. So it's like a curiosity about human experience and if she can eat food, her life will be so much easier. So it's kind of an obsession about human experience, and she don't want to be a vampire. Yeah.
All right, we had one here, I think.
Yeah. I have another technical question. So for your first feature, what were your challenges working with the budget? Because there's mostly a lot of locations and 2 characters, and all shot at night. So what advice would you give for other future filmmakers?
It's not a good idea to do your first feature with 47 locations, lots of character, and all at night. It can be your second feature, but I managed to, I was able to do it, but it was hard and stressful. Yeah, the location was the hardest part of it. 47 is really, really a lot. And I wanted to have a really graphic aesthetic, so it wasn't possible for me to have just a random place, because when you have a random place, it costs so much more in the production design, so everything is connected, and yeah, so keep minimal location as possible, I think, but it's it was hard.
So 45 locations?
No, I think maybe, I don't know, if you can have 20 maybe.
That's the magic number,
But I
20.
just pitch a number like that,
It's like one of those screenwriting books. No more than 20 locations. That's the key to the perfect
I
first
don't
feature
know,
film.
don't quote me on that.
It's already been tweeted. We will go here for the final question.
I think JP was by far the best character. Why do you think she decides to keep him instead of just easily eating him?
Because it's the douchebag who you're sure it's gonna die, and no, and I was I think people will thought, oh, this guy is he's so annoying, it's the perfect kill, but when it come back, people are oh yeah, still there. So yeah, it's a comic relief.
Ariane, thank you so much for being here. This is a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank all of you for the film plays once further in the festival. Ariane won't be here, she'll be going home, so thank you so much for coming to Vancouver
Thank
as
you
well.
so much.
Have a good night.